Whenever you're ready, Leo.
What's that?
Whenever you're ready to have Marty log on any second.
There he is.
How are you?
How's it going?
Hey,
Another day.
Tal, go ahead and make Marty co-host, and then once we get started, make sure we have everyone muted so there's no background noise and feedback.
Got it.
And I think we are now officially streaming live also on YouTube. Let's double check. Yeah. All right. You guys are all looking sexy on YouTube.
How you doing, Chuck?
doing great. Look at you. You got a haircut in this crisis?
I did. I did. We put the guy in a hazmat suit. We put him outside. Yeah, a little
mask
mask.
on and go get a haircut myself.
I'll send them to you.
I was thinking the same thing.
I wanted to look clean for this broadcast.
Yeah, we just went with a hat just to keep it simple.
I usually wear Chuck's. Chuck got me a Schwitz hat. For those who don't know, I wear that thing everywhere, and it's funny how Israelis especially. Oh, I get it. Love
That
it.
hat was made for you.
I love it.
Chuck, you're a little laggy on your sound.
Am I?
No, not you, Marty. Chuck.
Chuck.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So I think we'll give it like maybe 2 or 3 minutes. It's 2 o'clock now, but we'll give it like 2 or 3 minutes. We'll let people start loading on to YouTube and whoever else is going to be joining the Zoom. We're limiting Zoom to a certain amount of people just so that it doesn't get hectic. And then everybody else hopefully will be on YouTube. And we have Tal helping in the background to monitor any questions that are coming in as well.
Since we're waiting, can I ask you a couple questions if you don't mind?
Sure, absolutely.
So since you're in the money field, things are tightening up even more now. Are you seeing them starting to loosen up a little, or?
It's tricky, and my partner Michelle's on here as well, so I'll let her also chime in a second. But basically, it's investor specific. Every investor has a different appetite on what they're comfortable with. We're starting to see larger companies like Wells Fargo, Chase shut down certain product types completely. Wells Fargo is not doing any refinances right now. Chase is not doing, both Chase and Wells Fargo are not doing any jumbo purchases to certain types of clients. We're seeing a lot of investors raise their FHA minimum FICOs from what used to be 550 or 580 to as much as 660 now, which is almost no point of even doing an FHA. Right. But we don't know how long that's going to last, right? There's less of it going. Every day we're getting different information, different news. Just yesterday they announced that refinance cash outs in a lot of investors is going up to a 700 minimum FICO. So again, it's not across the board. It's investor specific, but we're starting to see a lot of them become very, very conservative. But I think it's going to be short term. As soon as things get back to a norm, we'll see it bounce. Sense for them to have this kind of fear and paranoia because they don't know how long they have to float everybody for.
Right.
But the future is what everybody's trying to figure out what that really looks like.
Right. I'm from a realtor's perspective, right? The fear of again the duration is what we're whatever everybody's freaking out about. It's, we're fundamentally sound for the most part.
Right. Right.
You're going to still be in business. I'm still going to be in business. Most people that are self-employed within 3 to 6 months will be back up and running. The question is what the consumer confidence portion of it's going to be.
Right. And that's really, that's what everybody is unsure of right now. It's not so much that we went into this strong, but coming out of it, what is going to be people's mindset? And I think we'll talk about that a little bit today. I'm going to ask you a couple questions regarding that. So I think we'll get started here in 1 minute at 2:05. I'll go ahead and get started. Michelle, did you want to maybe throw any of your 2 cents on what I just said? Because I know you're deeper in the weeds than I am when it comes to all of the news and information. Let me see if I can unmute her. No, maybe not.
So she presses the space bar on her computer, it'll automatically.
Yeah, except I need to give her permission. Let's see. Make her co-host. And here, I'll make you, Marty, also co-host. Okay, so it's 2:05. I think we should just go ahead and get started. We do have some people watching already live on YouTube. I'm seeing it here on another screen, and we have a bunch of people on the Zoom with us. So I want to first of all welcome everybody, to our first episode of Rubbing Elbows. And really, the idea when Chuck and I thought of this, the idea was to bring people together, first of all, from the community, but even more so to bring people that have not only been through the last recession, but have used it to actually thrive and become the huge success that they are today, partly because of the things that they've implemented at the time when everything was, when the world was coming to an end back in 2007-8. Some people took advantage of that. And our goal is really to find those people and bring them to the forefront so that we can learn from them. I've learned from a coach of mine that if you want to get somewhere, find somebody that's already there and just copy what they did. So that's the concept behind this whole thing. Chuck, I want to bring you in so you can introduce our speaker for this week. Every week we're going to have somebody else, but why don't you introduce our speaker this week?
Wonderful. Okay. Well, for everyone who's joining us right now, I'd like to introduce Marty Azulay. Some people they call him Marty Azulay, or the REO King, or the life coach, or the ultimate mentor. I call you my good friend, and I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome. Tell us your story.
Just like everybody else here, I've been doing real estate for a long time. Got into it in '97 with my mother, of all things. And in 2007, I was fortunate enough to get a little bit ahead of the curve in REOs. I started to get foreclosures. And I really started to, for the first time in my life, make a lot of money. As everybody else was losing everything, we were growing and growing quick. And just, I got to mention that this doesn't feel anything like that. But that being said, at the end of it, by 2011 or so, I realized that I need to help other people achieve this, because it's not about getting lucky and making it. It's about helping others get there as well. So hence comes the coaching and other aspects of what I do on a daily basis now.
So Marty, let me ask you, because you're a life coach amongst other things, and I've been in a lot of different coaching sessions. I've heard you speak before, and really, anytime you hear from mentors and coaches, they always talk about mindset, right? It's always how is your mindset, and that's going to determine what's going to happen for you. So talk to us about your mindset now with everything that's going on. What do you do every day to make sure that you don't get into that panic, into that funk?
So, I mean, one of the biggest problems that I find today, especially in this kind of a climate, is routine. You know, because most of us wake up and we're home, right? So we don't get dressed, or you're sitting in your pajamas for the better part of the day. Um, for the first couple of days, I kind of took advantage of that, and then I realized that if I'm going to be productive, I need to have some kind of system, some kind of daily routine. So first thing I do is wake up every morning. I've been waking up extra early because I find that because there's nothing to do at nights, I watch TV till 2 or 3 o'clock. So I set an alarm clock. I wake up at 5 a.m. I do my morning meditation, and then I start my routine. By 6:15 or so, I'm dressed, and I make it a point to get dressed, because then I kind of feel like I'm committed to my day. And then I basically just go through my to-do list. Generally by 11 o'clock, I'm back home and kind of ready to I do Zoom meetings, I do coaching sessions, but that's more of just me giving back because I have the time. My business day is pretty much over by 11:30 every day.
Okay. And so, you obviously have been through the last recession, and you've done a couple of things to position yourself in a way where you can benefit and take advantage of the times then. Are you doing anything like that right now? Are you making any changes, or are you coaching anybody to do any kind of changes to benefit from what we're dealing with today?
So the coaching that I am doing is to keep people. I think the key to this is to stay calm, right? I'm finding that people are either one extreme or the other. There's a lot of people that I'm encountering that don't see the light at the end of this tunnel. They think it's going to be much bigger than I happen to see it to be. But and then there's the people that don't really believe it and think it's a conspiracy theory, and it's a
hoax.
Somebody told me yesterday it's the biggest scam to transfer wealth, or they lost me at the global governments trying to sabotage us all. But there's one extreme to the other in this. I think that this is definitely going to be a shift, right? And I'm not sure as to when to jump back in, but I'm going to tell you that without a doubt we have to jump back in. I think that my only hesitation right now is timing. I don't know if the downturn has started, or are we kind of shifting towards the upturn. I think if I know for a fact that we're getting out May 15th, I'm full speed ahead. I think that we're still gonna have an amazing summer. I think that we've got nothing but this is gonna be like a little speed bump in the road. If we get out July 15th, I think a little different outlook. My approach, my business development idea would be very different towards this.
So you say timing, and a lot of people make the mistake of trying to time the bottom, or trying to time the top to when to get out of certain opportunities or deals that they're in. And the truth is, nobody knows, right? We can all assume and predict and try to be as close as possible, but nobody really knows when it's going to end. So with that said, what are the tips that you're giving your agents, and what tips can you give agents that are watching right now on what they should be doing during this time until we get out of it?
So successful people do this anyways, right? As far as I'm concerned. We as human beings, but as business people, we need to be of service, right? This is the time. If you work with me, if you've spoken to me in the last 3 weeks or a month, I tell everybody this. This is the time to call every single person you have ever met or know or have access to, and see if you can be of service. Don't pitch your business. Don't try to sell anything. Help. How can I help you And at some point, this is a great way to reconnect with people. I mean, think of how many people you haven't talked to in a couple of years. Clients, past clients, friends, friends of friends. This is a time to make those calls, right? If you can help, if you could be of service, when this turns, you will be that person.
And I love that you say that, and that's what I tell my team as well. Right now, it's a big mistake to look out for the deals or to try to find the deal. If the deal comes, that's a plus, that's a bonus. But right now, focus on building relationships, be a voice of reason. People need information now more than ever before. And if you could be that person for them today, when they need to use you for a transaction down the road, you're going to be the first one that comes to mind. So I agree with that 100%. So is there an opportunity right now for agents in a market like we're seeing right now? Is there an opportunity for them, in addition to being support and adding value to customers? Is there a way for them to find opportunities in terms of business and transactions?
So I think the business will present itself, right? I have a pretty big farm. I have a 2,800 home farm that I've been mailing to for the last, I don't know, 2 years. We sent out a piece just, I don't know, it dropped probably 6-7 days ago. And it basically said, how can we help? On the back, it says, if you're elderly and you need help with groceries or can't get to the store, or don't feel safe going to the store, please contact us. We've gotten 17 calls already from people needing help with something. You know, either they can go to the store but can't bring it up to the house because, you know, they don't feel comfortable seeing other people, or they don't feel like driving, they're afraid, you know, just stuff like that. So when you go out and help somebody like that, I think the opportunity will present itself, right? At some point they will sell, at some point they will need your service, and you will just be that person. As far as being an agent, you know, if you do this long enough and answer your phone, things will happen.
That's right. I've got a question for you. First of all, yeah, definitely I'd echo the help, because people need it now, and the ones that don't show it, just not showing it, but everyone needs help one way or another. I've got a question for you as far as what should the message of agents to their potential clients that are afraid to sell, what is that message? What do you see that message being?
Who are afraid to sell?
We're afraid to sell right now. Yeah, who are planning on selling, who are now hesitant, who are now not selling.
Okay, so let's look at it from a business perspective, right? If you were thinking of selling, hypothetically, you were going to come out on the market May 1st, but you know, due to this, you're now hesitating. Fair enough?
Yep.
I would tell you to do everything possible to have that house ready to go as soon as quarantine is over, right? So get the contractor in there to do the work that needs to be done. Get the staging company, get the photographers, get all the little things in place and ready to go, so that when there is an exit strategy, you're ready to go. The last thing you want to do is come May 15th, they say, all right, hey, guess what? Everybody gets to leave the house. And now you're scrambling, trying to get a stager, trying to get a photographer, trying to get a contractor. I mean, what a perfect time to have somebody paint the outside of your house right now.
Right.
You know, landscape, stuff like that. I would get ahead of that curve.
So I actually want to add to that, because this is information that was surprising to me, and I want to share that information so it can maybe open up the eyes for some of you watching. I have part ownership in a call center out in Mexico, and they do services for many different industries. One of which is, you know, solar and construction. And immediately when this thing started happening, this COVID started becoming, you know, safe at home, and everybody staying at home, everybody got affected. But then soon after, they started seeing a huge spike in solar, outside painting, roofing, anything construction related that doesn't require going into the house has seen a huge spike. if they were able to average 1 to 2 leads per agent per day, the last report I saw was closer to 5 leads per agent per day for people to, so people are still doing things, people are still moving. Maybe they're not executing as fast, but to Marty's point, you should prepare yourself, get ready, get all these people in there and really line yourself up. So, I mean, what do you see happening? I mean, obviously this is just, you know, everybody has their own opinion about this, but what's your opinion? How do you see this thing playing out?
You know, people think I'm an optimist, but I really think that by the 15th we'll start to have some kind of exit strategy. I think we're still going to have a pretty strong summer. I think you'll probably see prices dip anywhere between 4 to 6%. But I think there's going to be a lot of traction. You know, I probably like you guys. I track numbers. I'm very big in tracking numbers. So if you look on a national level, right, we are 16% less inventory today than we were. Actually, it was Monday than we were last year that time. Okay, so it's 16%. I get that, right? Because obviously nobody's listed anything in over a month, but 16% is not bad. I'm sitting on at least 6 or 7 properties that are going to hit the market as soon as this is over. So I know there's going to be a huge pop, right? So we're going to probably go from 16 to 18% below where we should be to probably 20% or 15% above where we should be. So you're going to have that saturation of inventory, which will obviously bring prices down a little bit, waiting for the lenders to actually kick in and create some kind of loans that work. So you're going to have that little hiccup in the market, but I still think that if we can get in front of it early enough, I think we should still have a good summer.
Yeah.
So, Chuck, if you have another question, go ahead. But I just wanted to make a quick comment. If anybody start thinking of your questions, and if you have questions, you can either start typing them in the chat. If you're on Zoom, we'll unmute you soon so you can ask it live. If you're watching on YouTube, just go ahead and write it in the comments. Chuck, go ahead. I think you had a question.
No, I'm just it's really interesting what you're saying about how the exterior projects spike. That makes total sense. And when you're driving down these streets and it looks like a ghost town, you're only seeing gardeners working. Seeing gardeners working on these, it looks like abandoned homes almost.
And exterminators.
So now that makes sense. You know, you've got roofers, you've got yeah.
So let me ask you.
That's really interesting, and it's something to take away.
So Marty, let me ask you a question. You know, one of your nicknames is the King of REO. You obviously done a ton of those transactions in the last recession. Do you see the market potentially going to something like that now?
So what I will tell you is you're not going to see anything for the next 6 months, right? Even if it was ready to go to foreclosure, it's not going to foreclosure. You're good. What this is going to, in my opinion, what this is going to do is it's just going to create more of a backlog, right? So once this is over, once you can't get back out, once they can actually start the processes and really get into full swing, it's going to be at least next year. Right?
Okay.
So I would say probably by the end of next summer, 18 months or so, 19 months from now, you're going to start to see short sale. You're going to start seeing short sales probably by November, December, right? Short sales are going to start first. That'll be your first wave. The thing is, again, a lot of us have equity, right? Depending on when we get out, it will depend a lot on the equity position that people have, right? So if we do get out May 15th, you're going to have a lot more equity than if we get out September 15th, right? Nobody's going to be buying in September anyways because it's September, for God's sakes. So if there's an equity piece in this, by November, December, you're going to start to see short sales. And that will obviously snowball everything else into foreclosures.
And so if somebody wanted to position themselves for the potentially next REO round, if that were to come, you mentioned that you started a step ahead, right? How long? I think it took you about a year of setup to then benefit from the REOs. What should somebody do today if that's what they are interested in getting involved in?
If they're real estate agents, you mean?
Yeah, just anybody in real estate that wants to now start focusing on REOs.
If you're a real estate agent, your job right now should be, since you can't solicit, you shouldn't be soliciting sales from homeowners. I would start to, look up disposition companies, foreclosure companies, asset management companies, and start applying to do BPOs or help them with anything real estate related, right? Even hedge funds will have foreclosures. So fill out all those applications, get into everybody's back end system, and offer to do BPOs for free. BPOs it's a broker price opinion. Because there's going to be so much movement in the market, they're going to have a lot of demand for it. We're getting about 25 to 40 a day. Yesterday, wow, we had over 40 BPOs. So there are people making moves. Either banks are selling bulks to hedge funds or vice versa. There are all kinds of algorithms on the back end for banks that track your DTI. So if your average DTI is, 40%, and all of a sudden you jump up to 60, banks are going to trigger a BPO on you. They're going to want to know how, he's spending more money, he's not making payments. Let's find out what his home's worth just in case. So they're a lot more proactive this time around. And I also don't think you're going to see the same deals that you saw in 07, 8, and 9 this time around, right? There's so many different fail safes in the market that it's not going to get to that point.
Right. Although we don't know what holds with everything that's happening now. Nobody really planned for this. To the point where you can't even in many cases, you can't even tap into your equity, even if you're fully qualified, right? We're seeing that tightening up left and right. So if an agent comes to you at your office and says, you know what, it's so crazy right now. Okay, I'll talk to customers. I'll give them advice, but should I just kind of sit tight and wait and see what happens, how things play out, or should I be doing anything right now, Marty? What would you tell them?
Under normal circumstances, I would always tell you to do something, right? To be in motion is always better than sitting idle. Unfortunately, in this climate, there's nothing to do. It's not like it's not like you could sit in open house or go knocking on doors. There's really nothing to do. So contrary to what I would like to tell people to do, this is the time to stay home, stay safe, I guess.
And so what kind of preparation can people start doing now to, almost like the buyers and sellers, prepare and get ready? What should I as an agent do to prepare and get ready for when this is behind me? So
if you don't have a database, this is a great time to start that, right? It's a great time to build your CRM. It's a great time to start preparing and setting in motion your social media advertising or any other kind of platform marketing that you want to do. I was on a Zoom call this morning, and people are setting up Slide Dial and CRMs and MailChimps and kind of getting the whole back end of their business up and ready to go, so that when they're ready to go, they can actually use it, right? During a regular market, who has time to sit there and put 1,500 or 2,000 people and categorize them into, buying now, buying later, possible sell, friends, whatever. This is the time. I mean, you have nothing but time. Start to build the back end of your business. Start to figure out how to automate a lot of that, to where you don't have to, you could just push a button and everything kind of goes. That's what I would be doing now. I mean, this is when you want to really start to invest in your business.
So I'm going to open it up here in one moment for questions from others, but I want to expand on this topic because you said something that I believe in very much, and now is the perfect time to start building your process, your flow, and create automation, whether it's slide-out or any of the other things you mentioned. But for a lot of people that are newer to starting to build their technology process, it could be very overwhelming. And I see a lot of webinars and Zoom meetings just like this, and they always talk about all these different things, but it's very difficult to get involved. What would be the either one or two things that you would suggest for somebody to just start with without overwhelming them with so many different systems? What would be the one that can be the most impactful that you've seen?
By far, the most important thing is your database, right? I would time block depending on how big your database is. And again, you don't even have to be in business, right? I mean, you could be a brand new agent. You still have a database. You still know people. I mean, you just go through your phone. People that you've known for more than 3 years, more than 5 years, the parents of people you know. These are all potential deals to you. You just need to get in front of them enough, and you will become that top of mind person. So start working on that. That's the first thing that I would do. If you're going to add to that, you're going to need an email component to your database. And if you're going to do just one thing, I would add MailChimp to that.
So I love that you talk about database, and I want to add something to that, and then maybe you can give some tips also on how to properly do a database and benefit from the database. One thing that we do, and I teach my team here, is that we segment the database. So first of all, we go through the list of customers that we have, people that we're working on, potentials, and then we segment based on A clients, B clients, C clients, and really that's just to design who is the most influential of my customers, because one customer can lead me to potentially 50 other customers, right? And that person is obviously going to be an A in my A category, so that we can touch those people differently and do more with them and be in front of them more. What other things are you doing with database that could be helpful? Because just having a list is sometimes too much, and doing everything for everyone is obviously too much as well.
And again, that's why I automate most of it, right? I separate my deals, and I mean, you do it A's and B's, and we call it red apples and green apples. Red apples they taste good, they're ready to go now. Some green apples, they need to hang around a little more. They need to get a little more sun. They need to come into their own. So those people, I give them a lot more education. I give them more time, because I understand that they're not going to be ready anytime soon. My phone calls, my weekly touches only go to my red apples. If you automate a lot of this, though, it's really not that complicated, right? I would take everybody that if you're a brand new agent, take everybody in your phone that already owns a house, and then everybody in your phone that doesn't own a house, right? Even if you're a lender, same basic principle, right? You focus on it. You market everybody that owns a house one thing, and anybody who needs to or doesn't own one yet, something else, and just drip them. You spend a few hours a month, and you come up with 6 different things to send out, or 7, as many as you're comfortable with, and I just put that stuff on autopilot. I could literally set it for, hey, May 1st at 11:03 a.m. I want you to send this piece out, right? And I could just set it that way. So I really don't work on my database that much, especially not now, because it's automated now, right? Once you start to get a little fancier, you add the slide dial in, right? What we're doing now is I've got, I don't know, probably 4,500, 4,800 phone numbers that I leave voicemails to. It's the greatest thing ever.
Right.
I don't have to talk to people anymore. You know, they look, all of a sudden they have a voicemail from me. Hey, what's going on? I just wanted to see how you're doing. I hope you're well. You know, if you need anything in this crazy time, you know, going to the store or something, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I'm so sorry I missed you. Talk to you soon. Click.
Yeah, I think a lot of people overlook how simple it can be. And for those of you who don't know, slide dial is basically just dropping a voicemail into the customer's voicemail box without you having to ring their phone or anything. It just goes straight to their voicemail, and it leaves a pre-recorded message that you've created. So you can literally contact 1,000 people with a click of a button, leave them a message, as Marty just said. And I think that's genius. And that's probably the best way right now to figure out who wants to talk to me, right? Who wants to talk to me? I can just send a message. Hey, I know things are crazy right now. If you need any advice, you need any help, you need anything at all, feel free to reach out to me. You know, even start the message with saying, sorry, I missed you. I'm leaving you a quick voicemail just to let you know I'm here for you. Whatever you need, just give me a call or send me a message, and we'll see what we can do to help. And that's probably one of the most powerful things that you can do, is just connect with people. I'm gonna open it up. Tal, why don't we unmute everybody, and anybody on YouTube who's watching, if you have any questions, write them in. But let's go ahead and unmute and see, does anybody have any questions for Marty?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, Michelle.
Yay. So now that we have this time on our hands, you know, I've noticed a lot more people in my community bike riding and slowing down life and doing the things that maybe we should be doing all along with our families. And I just want to know if you have any suggestions on how we look more introspectively and discover what maybe issues we have or goals we want to set, and how we take advantage of this spare time.
I think this is a great time to find out what you're really made of, right? No better way to know what's going on in your life but to lock yourself up in a house with someone for 30 days. I think you know, these are the important things. I watch somebody like Chuck, right? Chuck, I'm going to use you as an example, Chuck, because you are the epitome of a big child, right? He quads with his kids in the back in their backyard. They're even before quarantine. I mean, he's like a super dad on steroids, right? He's got his priorities straight. I mean, Chuck's one of the hardest guys I know, working guys I know, but he also plays extremely hard. He's, you know, he knows exactly what to do for enjoyment. And I think a lot of us forget what we enjoy because we're so busy going from place to place, or doing the things that we have to do or think we have to do. The one thing that I've learned out of all of this is that I can actually work remotely and be extremely productive. Like I said, I'm home by 11:30 every day. It's kind of cool. You know, during the week, I mean, during regular weeks, I don't get home till 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I still feel like I'm leaving a lot of stuff on the table. So my suggestion is, and what I've been doing is, I categorize things based on importance. And once I get all of my musts off the table, I realize that there really aren't that many of them. And the rest of the day I get to do whatever I want. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. I actually do that too. It's kind of like the green apples and red apples, but of your day to day. What do you have to do? What do you need to do? What do you want to do? So yeah, well, first of all, thank you for acknowledging me, because that's all I strive to be, is just a fun dad. Everything else comes second.
But you are. I mean, and you carve out. I think to me it seems like you almost, you know, you set that time, right? It's almost time blocking for being with your kids.
Yeah, it's 23 hours a day, and then whatever's left, you know, I sleep. Actually,
Stacey, you had a question? Oh, go ahead, Chuck. Sorry.
No, I just saw a comment that Marty left on my Instagram I haven't seen it, I don't know, since last year or something. And you literally wrote, "Don't ever grow up," which I thought was hilarious. I don't know, I never saw it.
Again, we can all make that time, right? But the problem is most of us get caught up with our lives where we don't, you know? So,
Yeah.
Right.
I commend you.
Stacy, let's see what you got.
Okay, hi everybody. So I have a similar question, but I'll give just like a little bit background to where my question comes from. So I also have been selling real estate since '99, and I've seen the markets do a couple different things. But I also believe, similar to you, that the market is going to pick up pretty fast, and I think that we're not going to see short sales and foreclosures for a long time. But my question is, I work with a lot of builders, and I the same thing. I have maybe 5 or 6 properties getting ready to go on the market literally the day we open up. My biggest issue right now is just getting people into houses. But what I'm finding I'm going to have to preface a lot of my builders or even just regular sellers with is contingencies and timeframes are going to be very different because the loan market is different, at least right now. I think a lot of the loans are going to start opening up, and there's going to be jumbo again, and there's going to be all this again. I think right now everything's pretty much on a big freeze. But all my builders and all my sellers that have their houses ready and staged and photographed and ready to literally click, put on the MLS, they're basically saying to me, Stacy, it's not going to probably be, multiple offers anymore, and 10-day contingencies and 10-day inspections and loan appraisals, all that. So I'm trying to get ahead of the curve. When the market changed in 2008, we didn't start in a really strong economy. So what is your outlook on what are you prefacing your sellers about as far as their expectations for physical inspection contingencies, being able to get people inside, appraisers being able to get people inside, and eventually once the loans kind of open up more, people will get loan approval and will be able to close. But what's your time frame that you're sort of giving expectations of?
So again, I think if we get out by the 15th of May, we should be up and running by the 15th of June, maybe the 1st of July. As an investor, for my investor portion, I have a really big house that was ready to stage 45 days ago, and I pulled the plug. They said that they're gonna, when they started the stay-at-home order, I took 2 steps back and I said, you know what, I'm not going to stage, I'm not going to spend the money, I'm just going to lock up the house and I'm going to wait. That was from an investor standpoint. And then 2.5 weeks went by and I'm going, not a good move. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm starting to panic, and I can't panic. I need to be as proactive as humanly possible. So I just finished staging. Press the space bar.
Sorry, there you go. I muted because there was feedback. Sorry.
I agree with that in the sense of a lot of my builders are carrying so much hard money and interest that they are wanting to get ahead of it to get on the market as soon as it's ready. But I'm saying, whether it's May 15th, June 15th, July 1st, whatever it is, once we go on the market, once everyone's on the same page of going on the market, I think there's going to be a big change in what it is, whether people are going to write offers in 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 days. I think all of that's going to be kind of different. But I think my bigger issue is, what should the expectation be that we give to our sellers as far as contingencies? Because I think a lot of buyers are going to say, listen, I don't know if I'm going to get a loan and I want a 30-day loan contingency, where, 10 days before this, we were talking like 5 days contingencies. Very short time frames.
I'm going to tell you this, Stacy. I think that the market will dictate what the market's going to dictate. And I think that you as a professional are going to push exactly what they're pushing on you. You're not going to be able to dictate this, right? Just like I'm not going to be able to dictate. What I can do is I can control my portion of this, and I can have the house ready, and I can do everything that I can do. What happens on the other side of the fence has absolutely nothing to do with me, but I will tell you that I will handle it and move from there. If somebody brings me a 90-day escrow and a 60-day contingency, well, if I don't have anything else, that might not be a bad idea, right? But you and I both don't know that. I don't know that. For all we know, listen, I have a house that went off market, 3.7. It's going to close in next Thursday. It will close. I showed it off market after the quarantine. Okay, I got an offer during all of this, and it's going to close. Cash.
That's amazing.
Lucky.
Right. I mean, Chuck and I have a deal that we put into escrow prior to the quarantine, and we've now had 3 different lenders that have pulled the plug, and it's like a game of chase. So, I mean, it will obviously go both ways and it changes, but I guess my question is, what would the expectation you're going to be when you sign the listing agreement, when you sit down with the sellers? Do you have a forecast of what you're pretty much trying to preface them at, just to keep everyone kind of calm?
So if I'm going to set expectations, they're going to be like this. There's no longer going to be 3-month listing agreements, right? I need a 6-month listing agreement because I'm expecting the market to take longer. I'm also expecting it to cost me more to advertise and to promote a house, right? So the days of putting up a sign and blowing it out, I think those days are over for a little bit. I still have faith in the market, and I still think that we're going to sell real estate, right? I just think it's going to take a little longer. As an investor, I also understand that my contingencies might have to change. I might have to understand that appraisers don't want to walk into a house that has had 1,000 people, right? I mean, those things are not going to happen. So everything stretches. But if I really want to sell, and both of our clients, we both know that both of our clients want to sell and need to sell, we will adapt accordingly. What I will tell you, if I am going to set an expectation, is my one thing that I would be telling my investors right now is this is not the time to panic, right? Because it just takes one.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Everybody, right?
Right. You don't need 50 buyers. You need one solid buyer that can close.
Right. So, and nothing worse than one putz, wholesaling a property and ruining it for everybody because they panicked.
Right.
So that's my other, the other caveat to this. I think if people just hold the course, right? If we all stay the course, we have good product. We understand that things are going to sit a little longer. We don't panic. So we're not going to make 100%. We're going to make 80% or 70% or 50%. We'll be fine, right? There's enough cushion in this where nobody's going to go hungry, right? This is not going to be a torrential downpour. You are not going to see a landslide.
I agree.
It's a property that was worth $4 million is not going to be worth $2 million. This is not that market.
I agree. Well, we started out in such a strong market. I'm also telling a lot of the people that I work with that are buyers that, in my opinion, that at some point, some of the stimulus has to get paid back some way besides us paying taxes, and that interest rates are eventually, in my opinion, going to have to go up, not in 6 months, not maybe 9 months, but maybe 12 months from now. And so everyone that's sort of on the fence, is the market going to crash? My feeling is, maybe, I guess, what is your feeling, is that this is a good time to buy, or once we can open it up, it is a good time to buy, because eventually interest rates will have to be going up numbers that they aren't right now.
So you said you got into the business in 99, right?
Yes.
Okay. In 96 and 97, I was selling homes at 16% interest.
Yeah.
And that was par.
Right. I was started when it was 12%. So yes.
So 12%, I mean,
right.
Right. So we're getting jumbos at 4.25, 4.5. Well, maybe
we got spoiled. That's
right. So,
but the newer buyers and sellers freak out, and Leora, you would probably know this, at if they heard 5% or 6%. I mean, what you can afford at a higher interest rate makes obviously the numbers different. But I mean,
But
I
there's a
do.
transition, and in anything, there's a transition, and,
For sure.
and it's mindset. People get adjusted, just like in 2000 and I think it was 2009. Rates, got no, I'm sorry, right before the 2007 meltdown, rates got up to 6.75. I bought
Yep.
my house at 6.75. A year before that, they were 4.25, 4.5.
Right.
We didn't like it, but we got adjusted, and people do
Right.
adjust. And to Marty's point, we can only control what we can control, and as long as we focus on that and let go of all the things that we don't have control over, just keep pushing the message as it comes into us and delivering that, and being being the voice of reason for the clients, I think is the most important.
You need to keep them off that ledge, right? And
Yeah.
I can't express that enough. I think that especially Middle Easterns by nature, the world is over. It's Corona. This will pass, right? I mean,
right. We do have a question here from Judy, and we're about to wrap up, so I want to make sure I can get it in here. Judy wrote, Marty, I follow Mike Ferry. I prospect daily from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and I have set 3 listing appointments in the last month. Do you have any other suggestions?
You want to come work for me? Good for you. I think Mike also tells you to be of service, right? Not to solicit business at this time. But I guess if you do enough of that, the business will just come to you on its own. My suggestion would be to just do more of that. I would go back through all your past clients. I would call everybody in my database, and really just focus on touching as many people as humanly possible right now, and let that lead to business.
And if this is the Judy that I think it is, then I know personally that she is extremely hungry. She is always going out there to see who she can help, what families are out there looking for any type of service. And as Marty just said, as long as you do that, the byproduct and the success will be the transactions and the business that you get from it. But if the focus is just getting out there and talking to as many people as possible, I mean, we changed 2 years ago. We're a lending company. We make money off of doing loans, right? But we changed. We decided, listen, everyone, all of our competitors are doing all the great things that we thought that we were the only ones doing, and creating this client experience that was amazing. And then we realized at the end of the day, we just need to be the voice of reason, where they can rely on us to get advice without us being biased and trying to get the transaction. So we told all of our realtor partners, if you have anybody who is even thinking about what it looks like to buy or sell real estate, we don't care if they're ready to do a transaction. We want to talk to them because we want to give them the advice so that they have all the tools. And the byproduct of that is the ones that are ready to do a transaction, they'll end up using you. And so if you can get into that mindset, I think, Marty, you said it a few times, if you can just get in front of people and give them that kind of service, the time will come and they will need that service, and you will be there for them. And Judy, I'm glad that you pointed out what you're doing and what's working for you, because the other part of us putting this together is to create a mastermind amongst everyone in the community. And with Chuck and I and Marty this week, and next week another speaker, we're just one piece of the puzzle, but there's so many people in the community that are joining the session now that I see names here like Guy Azar and others that are extremely successful at what you do. And we want us all to share that information. Anything that you're doing that works, just like you said right now, Judy, prospecting every morning, and that turned into 3 listings. Please share that with us, because this can become a mastermind where we can all benefit.
Well, can she talk? I mean, can we unmute her? I'm curious.
Here we go. I'm here. Hi.
So Judy, question for you. When you're prospecting, you're not soliciting business, right? You're just touching base?
Correct.
Perfect.
Tell us a
Correct.
little bit, Judy. What do you do? What does that look like when you go out there and you talk to people? What does that look like?
So for example, who I got my listings from were past clients, Center of Influence. One of my clients is in Texas, and the minute that we that this whole coronavirus kicked in. I gave him a call. I was evicting one of his clients or one of his tenants. And I asked him, what's the plan? What do you want to do? I'm here to help you. I'm in California. You're in Texas. What would you like me to help you do? And he had contemplated it for a minute. And I spoke to him like on a Monday. He called me back on Wednesday evening and he said, you know what, F it, let's just list it. So I came in, really trying to service, just trying to help. And truthfully, that I was just trying to help. And he was just like, I don't want the property to be vacant. Let's just sell it. And I closed that deal, 685, in 15 days, all cash.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, I got another one, elderly folks, Michelle knows them. That's actually my grandma. And they're in a position where my aunt is no longer working the hours that she needs to work, or, she was currently working. And I got that one. And so, just doing those types of phone calls or just being of service. And when you mentioned, Marty, the handing out a flyer, my partner and I were literally having a conversation about what kind of flyer can we create so that we can drop. We're not going to door knock. Clearly, we can't do that, but we can drop a flyer, right? Sure. So we're thinking at 6 o'clock in the morning, we're just going to drop some flyers. And I literally wrote down what you said. As far as, do you need help? If you're elderly and you can't get groceries and medication, please reach out to us. We'll be glad to help. So that's what I something like that, just giving back to the community at this time.
And if you think about it logically, those are the people you really want, right?
Yes.
They're elderly. If anybody's going to be selling it in the next 3 to 5 years, it's them.
Yeah.
55 and older, they can't go to the store. They're at a point where they're going to sell anyways, right? Yeah. You are that person. And now for me, it just brought, out of 2,800 homes, it brought.
No makeup, sorry.
Hi, there you are. All right. Out of 2,800 homes, it brought 17 people right to the top. It made it that much simpler, that much easier, right? So I know for a fact that I at the very least, I'm going to have 17 transactions.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that I would add right now that's extremely important is also make sure that you have the right partners for the journey, whether it's your escrow, whether it's your title, whether it's your lenders, whether it's anybody that can be part of your transaction. They need to be very high level. They need to be up to date with everything that's happening, because Stacy mentioned a moment ago that they're in escrow and they went through 3 lenders as an example, and things are moving so quickly. So making sure you have the right partners, not only to help a transaction go through, but also to help mastermind and help each other's business grow. That has been a huge success for us. That is one thing that I suggest very strongly, is making sure that you team up with the right people.
So I'm going to add, I'm also a member of Homes for Heroes. Some people are like, that's just the stupidest thing ever, right?
Oh, great.
But for every transaction I'm closing, I am buying 2 pizzas, and it's not a big deal, but 2 large pizzas, and I'm sending them either to the police department or to the hospital. And then my goal is to pair up with one of my lenders and they do the same thing. So I'm not just sending 2, we're sending 4, to either the hospital or to the police department or fire department, because these are our heroes, right? So,
and you know what? It's amazing that you're doing that. We've all been working so hard over the last 10 years since the last recession that we haven't had time to stop. And there's so many good people out there like you, Judy, that also want to give back, but maybe don't know how. And just finding and partnering and doing this together as teams is going to be something that people are going to look for later. What did you do for your clients during COVID? What did you do for your employees during COVID? That's going to be a new thing that people are going to pay attention to.
Yeah. And see, I've only been licensed 5 years, but I think it's just really important. My community has treated me good. It's been good to me, and I just want to give back.
Judy, I'm going to tell you this, even though it's only been 5 years, if you keep consistency, if you keep this consistency, your business will only grow. No matter what the market does, up or down, you will only grow.
Thank you.
I think what to Lior's point a minute ago, moving forward as the climate of real estate is going to change, and it will. Had this not happened, we were already in a recession, right? I think my concern is, how do we avoid this from going into a depression, right? Hopefully things, like I said, wake up sooner and we're out of the house. People, I mean, now that it's sunny, I mean, that already helps people's moods, right? But as these things shift, right, your team is going to be extremely important. Having a lender that's at the very least open enough to look outside the box, right? There's so many different, if you've got a lender that's like a horse with blinders, you're done. Get out of the business now. You'll never really do anything except cookie cutter deals. You need somebody who's able to take a look at everything sideways, because there's always more to look at, right? You need a title rep that will go to bat for you, and you're going to really need a good escrow officer, because
I have an amazing team for sure.
Perfect. As these things start to shift, it's gonna take 4 of you guys to in order to do a deal, right? Short sales are coming. They're most definitely coming. Foreclosures.
I think Stacy wants to say something.
Yeah, I want to add one thing that's on this, that when I first got into real estate in 99, and my mentors, who I feel like taught me almost everything, they instilled something that 21 years later, I still remember. No matter what the market is, up, down, recession, depression, anything, people are always going to get married. People are always going to get divorced. People are always going to pass away, and people are always going to have babies. So no matter what the economy is, no matter what goes on, those things are always going to fuel real estate. And I think people have to remember that no matter what goes on, someone's getting married, someone's getting divorced. Like, there's always real estate.
Yeah. And if
Especially
nothing
after
else,
this quarantine, imagine how many divorce sales are going to be after quarantine.
Or how many babies.
and if nothing else, we know for sure that not everybody is going to survive the tough times. So it's gonna clean up shop a little bit, like it did back in 2007. And the people that maybe shouldn't be in the industry are gonna look for other things to do. So it's gonna create a little bit more opportunity for the ones that are doing the right things. We are coming up on an hour here. Marty, I'll let you kind of recap or close off if you have anything else you'd like to say. But next week, same place, same time, we're gonna have another speaker. We actually just locked Maya Vander, who is one of the cast members on Selling Sunset, and she's going to be on next time. We have a few others lined up. Chuck has some surprises in store for upcoming episodes. But Marty, I want to thank you first of all for coming and sharing with us. If you have anything you'd like to close off with, please feel free.
So first of all, if I can help any of you guys with anything, it would be my pleasure. Being of service to anybody is kind of my goal. I love seeing Guy. He looks so good in this little picture of his. You have Selling Sunset. You could have Guy. I mean, he sells Sunset.
We're gonna hit him up. I wonder if he's in his suit right now or in his shorts.
Probably not.
He's in a suit. Are you kidding me? He has pajamas. He has a special pajama suit. So me and Guy, when I did REOs in 7, 8, 9, 10, Guy worked with me and killed it. I mean, sold a lot of homes. It's nice to see him on here. Listen, this market is going to get interesting. Take care of people. People will take care of you. What else can I tell you? If I had to do it all over again, I would just treat people the way that I'd want to be treated. I would conduct business the way that if I was buying $1 million house, what would I want that to look and feel like? And that's what I would bring to the table. You do that and you do it long enough, you can't go wrong, guys. You really can't. And like you said, there's always business.
All right, beautiful. Well, Marty, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for joining this session. Next week we'll rub elbows with someone new.
Thank you very much.
By the way, if anybody has any questions or any comments in the YouTube comment section, you can throw that there. We can address whatever, whenever. And again, thank you so much, Marty.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Marty.
Bye, guys. If you need,
Bye.
I'm sure you guys know how to get a hold of me, but if I can help with anything, seriously, let me know.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marty.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Guys, next
Thanks everyone
Thank
for
you.
joining.